Nobody ever thinks about how we were divided. And it began with the labels, the separation through identifying our parts. As soon as we put words on them, we separated them. We created divide. See, it wasn't the parts. It wasn't the people. It was the labeling. It was the limitation. Once you put a label on something, you devalue it. You take away its uniqueness, its value, and the sense of individuality. Once you label it, you take away what it is. Labels take away the essence, the spirit. So a whisper in the ear becomes manifest in the physical. That's the trickery. That's the spell cast. Humans are not their parts. Our souls are not our bodies. Yet, we are physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually present here, now, in this. We are souls having a human experience. What we did was we created more out of less, form out of the formless. We were whole. We're the ones who fragmented ourselves. As soon as we started breaking things down, we began to break down. So how did this human race turn into such a chaotic, warmongering, separate place of So how did this human race become so divided? We made it more complicated than it was. From our wholeness, we created fragmentation and divide, separateness, suffering. There's no coincidence that we feel lost, that we don't feel whole. The whispers that planted the seeds of separateness. The more we were told, the more we accepted, the more we became what we never were. See, they took their doctrine, they filled us in. It's clever. They filled us in. Hey, let me fill you in on this. Let me tell you about my doctrine. Let me tell you a story. And as soon as they started telling us stories, we forgot who we were, what we came here to be. When the indoctrination became nations, because there wasn't just one, although we were one. They split us into many. We are not colors. We are not genders. We are not religions. We are not all those things. Organs, eyes, ears, noses, tongues, lips, feet, hands. The more we start putting a label, an idea, a story. How crazy is that? The idea that words are the spell. Words are the spells. That's why they call it spelling. That the words that we use, they are the clue. The biggest clue. Why? Because the biggest spell book ever known. The Bible. Bible. By meaning to. By who? B-Y. By. Ball, as in, take a bull by the horns. Ball, we all know. This is Satan's playground. Clever. So freaking clever. And all you gotta do is be aware. To be present in the now. To not think about the past or the future, but to be where you are now. Because that's where it's at. It's where your power lies. That's where what we think is power lies. See? Duplicity, duality. The more present you are in the moment, in the now, you start seeing the whole picture, the whole story. In this world of polarity, we have this and that as two halves of the whole. They're always here with us, in the present, in the now. They're not in the past or the future. Those don't even exist. So the more you're willing to be present, the more you'll get a handle on this. You'll understand what is really going on. You get to hear it, you see it, you can taste it, you can touch it, smell it, because you are it. So be it. Reclaim your parts to become whole. It's like a puzzle. It's like a game. You're learning the rules finally. So when you hear a word, listen carefully. Because as soon as you are aware of its duplicity, you can actually start to put things back together. And instead of being divided, you come together. First you come together in the awareness of the words. Then you come together in the awareness of who you are, where you came from, spiritually. So the polarity, the duality exists in everything, mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. So when you hear a word, you're hearing the breaking up, the splitting, the divide of everything that was once whole. So if you put it to words, you've broken it down. And that's why things appear and feel to be broken. Because they've been broken down. And isn't it funny how the mind works? That the real, that could be it too. Is it the mind or is it the whispers? Is the devil in your ear? Devil's in the details. Aha! There you go. So if the devil is in the details, it's in the word spells. That is where the details exist. Because the word spells break things down into constructs, into words. The details are the words. The words were cast when this all began. Just like a line when you're fishing. Let's see who will catch this hook, line, and sinker. So let's go back to the Bible. Bible. That double bull, or the bi in the sense of horns on the bull. Bible says that in the beginning there was the Word. That wasn't the beginning, but that was the beginning of mankind, humanity. In the beginning was the Word. That's when we began to break down, because the Word was the casting of the spells, was casting the line, hooking you, and you bought it, hook, line, and sinker. You got hooked. You got hoodwinked. What a clever play. What a clever story. Experience of stories. That's amazing. And it is a maze we are in. Inclusive, exclusive. The left and the right. The up and the down. The in and the out. The plus and the minus. The positive, the negative. The true, the false. It's all halves of the whole. Parts that make it up as one. It's up to us to put the puzzle back together again, you know, when Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty Dumpty back together again. It takes a village. And the irony is this is all a dream. There's only one person having this dream, this experience. And while I am having this dream, in my awareness, I can hear, I can see, I can taste, I can touch. I can create a story. I can feel it out. I can test it out. I can break it down, tell you all about how you are me and I am you, but I still see you and you still see me. We are two halves of the whole, the head and the tail of a coin, the heads and the tails, the good, the bad. How beautiful that I only see you because I cannot experience myself. To have this human existence requires your presence, your essence, your soul playing its role with your feet, the soul on the earth, and the presence of your essence and your spirit and your soul. Truth is, in the beginning, all there ever was, just is, justice. In the beginning, There's the breath. In the end, we don't know, do we? We'll know it when we know it. Or not. Maybe there is no end. But what I do know is it was all made up. We're playing make-believe. They're making us believe in their stories, in their constructs, in their labels, in this divide. It's this separation of many nations that was once whole, was once one, once. We are the ones that make up the one. We are the ones of the one. Are you ready to be whole? To connect our souls, just like the dark crystal. We never were at war. What appears to be the war was just the breakdown into the fragments, into the parts of the stories that we're playing. Parts, pieces, parts, roles, acting out our parts. Literally taking out our parts. On display. Look at me. Playing my part. Seeking my parts. Many parts of the whole. Putting our parts back together to be whole. Putting the puzzle that was broken. Having a breakthrough, not a breakdown. We've already broken down. Let me fill you in with the story as I go on and on and on again. Think about it. The breakdown was just the beginning. When the whispers were spoken, the words are tokens, as are we. We are the data, the commodity traded on the stock market. That's at its minuscule, the most minor of it all. They just put layers on everything because it gets broken down more and more and appears more complicated and more appears. The more appears because there is more. The fractals, the fragmentation, the individualization, the fractalization. We break it down more and more. Of course, it's infinite, but we don't have to be stuck in this infinite loop. And that is the choice, because choice is our superpower. That while we are having this human experience, we are also finding all the clues, like cookies on the computer, tracking your every move. There are crumbs in life designed to give you clues, to find your way back to the source of all that is, and that is you. Once again, the message comes through that it's always been, always will be, ever has been, you seeking you. See how clever we were to construct this game as the architects of our lives, because we are. And as an architect, eventually you have to recognize your own creation. Notice the structure that you placed. Notice the structure that you put in place and how you constructed it, why you constructed it, and how you can deconstruct it. You can go back to the drawing board. Drawing, again, it's similar to words. Creation from words and casting spells became visuals in this human existence. If you don't mind, it won't matter. When you mind, you make matter into form. Visuals, as you visualize, you manifest all those whispers, all those lies. You take it into your being, your mind, and you materialize, you manifest, you create. You create, creates. Creation by imagination. Imagine a nation. Words, words, words. Spelling. Casting. You're not just casting a line. You're casting a movie. So they're casting you with their spells to play the role they want you to, because they can't do it themselves. We can't do it ourselves. We need all the moving parts to make up the whole. The cleverness of the duplicity, the duality, the polarity is we are in this together, whether we like it or not. We can't do this alone. But all it takes are the parts to rearrange themselves. We're not ever separate. We're not going to divide ourselves. Although it appears that way because of the casting of the spells. Together we stand, divided we fall. It says it all. Why? Because we are all parts and sums of the whole. Like I said, we're one person having a dream here. Don't fall for the spell of thinking you're separate. All that shit you don't like, you have to transmute it, you have to alchemize it. Be the catalyst for others to do the same too, so we can arrange our parts into our wholeness. Reclaim ourselves, reclaim our parts. The parts of the whole have to rearrange themselves. They're never going to separate. They're just going to come back together. So, if there is spelling that casts us in these roles, then there is spelling that we may cast to retell the tale. We get to rewrite the story. We become the writer, the producer. We can even be the dictator. We can read it out loud, the spells we cast. Rewrite the story that they started. Go back to the drawing board. Go back to the books. You get to tell the story now. But you have to be in your awareness. You have to take yourself out of their story to create a new story and bring them back into your story. Rearrange the parts. Change the form. Manifest something new. Everywhere you look, there's a clue. Again, the words, all the meanings. They're clever to break us up. They're clever to break us down. But when you know better, you can do better. And that's where you have the breakthrough. You're not breaking down. We're breaking up. Ever notice the word is breaking up or breaking down? Because when you're breaking down, you feel like you're falling. When you're breaking up, you feel like you're rising. The languaging is there to give the sensation, the appearance, to really tap into your five senses so that when you feel it, when you're in that state, that's when you create. Feeling is where all the truth resides. Feeling is what creates. You don't create with the words, although that is the current that we're riding, the waves, the current, the currency. The current is the wave of this water form, this fluidity of life. Currency, maritime admiralty, law, the currents of our thoughts, the value we place on things, riding it, flowing with it, going with it, being it, knowing it, telling it. You have to feel it fully, to realize it, to know it, to heal it, to be it. I used to always say, feel it to heal it. Now I realize and recognize with realize that when you feel it, you know it. That is the gnosis. I know that. You know that. Maybe you just need to be reminded, because to come together, we are members of the whole. So we come together to remember, return to source, to wholeness. Put the puzzle pieces back together. That's why I say we are music, we are symphony and harmony. When we connect our keys, the frequencies that come together to unlock each other. We are each other's keys, unlocking our codes. To be whole, to play our beautiful music in symphony and harmony. Listen when they tell you they're playing our song. Not in this case, they're playing the song they want you to sing. It's up to you to return. Return to your vibration, energy, frequency. Be the key. Be buzz buzz in your frequency. When you are true to you, you spark something in others too. Others come online. That's what happens even in computers. They align. We align. Alignment is key. That's what brings us into balance and harmony. Alignment is what makes the wholeness. Energy is vibration, is sound, it's all of it. It even makes up the words. And the words have frequency. But we didn't even need the words. All we have to do is feel, and not with the body. The feeling is intangible. It's a sensation. It is your gift, is your essence. It is the soul guiding you. When you felt something, you had a gut instinct. That was the soul in you. Nobody can tell you what you know, what you feel to be true. Because that is your soul in you telling you. Feel it, to know it, to be it, to see it, to hear it, to sense it, to taste it, to touch it. The more you make it matter, the more you turn it into form. And again, we started with the word. We turn the form. We turn the formless into the form. Things didn't matter back then because we were already infinite. So on the one hand, it was a casting of a spell to put us under the spell. But it's the breaking the spell that brings us back to casting a new spell, creating a new story. We can turn the form into formless again. We can go back to where it all began and start all over. This is our opportunity for breakthrough. This is where we're at in this cycle. Humanity will never split. It may appear to be that we split. We may not see the other half of the whole because the back can't see the front and the front can't see the back, but they're still together. You may think evil exists without the good, and the good exists without the evil, but they're always present with each other. They're always there together, hand in hand. Hand in hand, walking together, living in harmony, because, again, frequency, energy, vibration. It's all connected. It's never separated. Energy is neither made nor destroyed. It just becomes something else. It is transmuted, transformed, alchemized. That's what alchemy is. It's alchemical. It transforms. We transform. We just change form. Transform. Change. Form. Matter. Hue, man. Light body. Hue means light. Man is body. It's not gender. It's just a form. And then we can go back to the formless, breaking it down as we're having our breakthroughs, as we have realizations, removing the labels, bringing things back to wholeness. The real separation in humanity starts within, because that's how it began. In the beginning there was the Word. The spells were cast. The scene was set. The actors took upon their roles, placed their feet and their souls upon the earth. The waters, they rose. We rode the waves, the current seas of our realities. In the current sea, the current moment, the current flow, we went along. Now you see how the duplicity, the polarity creates the resistance. The water doesn't flow as freely because there is a storm. And when there is a storm, there is resistance. The uprisings. Everything is a tale of water, it seems. It's not on the land as we originally appeared, with our feet and our souls upon the earth. Somehow, truly, the spell cast upon us has us literally lost at sea, caught up in the currency. The current sea, see what I see, as a story playing out. The uprising, the tides are turning though. We're rising up from the waters. There are the waters above and the waters below. Moses parted the waters. Here we go. You have to break the story down because there are two halves of a whole. Bible. Baal told you one story. It's up to you to create the other one. So the turning of tides is our turn to tell the story. Now that the seas have been parted and you can walk upon the earth again, you get to choose, get to decide. Which way will you go? Or will you return to the currency, the current sea, to the water, to the rising, to the falling, to the ebbs and the flows, and going along with the flow? Or will you go along with the flow, or will you resist? What you resist will persist. It will come and will go, ebbing and flowing. Just as our rights appear to be eroding, the water erodes the land. There is this interesting relationship between water and land. The water tries to erode the land by rubbing it, rubbing the form, eroding the land, taking away, but sometimes giving back. Or is it spreading it thin? You can watch the sea as it just flows, or what happens when it turns into a hurricane, a storm, and it displaces, it picks up the land, it picks up whatever's in its path, and it moves it. You don't grow in your comfort zone. Even the water knows that. So, you always have to have your villain, your perpetrator, to rub you a little, to wake you up, to shake you up. polish you into a diamond. Give you a little rub, a little nudge, shake you out of your shit, so you stop flinging it. Because we all have to be faced with our shit eventually. No matter how much you try to throw it onto someone else, dismiss it, ignore it, your shit shows, no matter what. When you own it, it won't appear to even exist. Because what's hiding, what's lurking in the shadows is what's ruling this whole life, this whole existence. Creation, imagination, lurking in the shadows. It's just an aspect of ourselves that we haven't yet owned and claimed. It's lonely. It needs company, as do you. Misery loves company because they need it too. Misery's just lonely. That's all it is. We learn through experience. Through experience, we collect information that we turn and integrate. We alchemize. Once again, it's all alchemizing. It's all transforming, taking our experience and turning it into the golden form of wisdom. Transforming it. Making it formless. Oh, isn't that clever too? So we manifest it into matter. We make things matter. We create them into form. And through those experiences, we take that matter, those experiences, and make them formless once again. There's the alchemy, there's the gold. From the gold, we turned it into lead. From the lead, we turned it back into gold. That's what we do. That's the alchemy. That is true. The reality that we exist came from the formless. What may seem like an abyss, an infinite formlessness. From the void, we create. And through the void, we will return. The Caduceus. From nothing, no thing, we made something. And from something, it will go back to nothing, no thing. We will consume ourselves into nothingness. From the nothingness, we will transform back into form. Making something into nothing, nothing into something. That's all this is. Stories we tell. Very clever as well. Morning musings. Loving this. And there will be more before there is less. Unless we make more out of less. Again, two halves of the whole, coming and going, expanding, contracting. To be or not to be, that is the question.